Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Live at 4 on this wet Wednesday.
It's a much-needed rain.
Yeah,
it kind of felt nice, didn't it? Yeah.
Still very humid out, though. It's like being in Central America.
It is a little bit, yeah.
And the heat returns tomorrow, but we'll get to all that in just a minute. But first, here's what's making news on this Wednesday. A crash on the interstate south of Madison blocks northbound traffic for almost 3 hours.
A Columbus business owner is frustrated that a highway construction project is blocking customers from getting to his auto repair store.
And a journalist reported dead shocks his colleagues when he shows up at a news conference.
Let's take a look outside today, see if it's raining here on the west side. This was earlier today.
Yeah, they're getting
grass
wet.
And the cows getting a drink.
Little bath. This is remnants of Alberto, the tropical depression. Kind of cool. Less steamy by Friday, but we got a day in between that, Karen Swanson, in the backyard.
Yes, we do. We've got still some steamy weather on tap for tomorrow. And I have to say, standing out here right now, I kind of feel like I'm standing inside the conservatory over at Old Brick Gardens. It's got that fresh after rain smell out here. And we've got also those very warm and sticky feeling conditions. And the birds are chirping as well. So just feeling exactly like I'm over there. But here we are outside, starting to see a little bit of sunshine here in the Madison area. We did have those showers and some thunderstorms move through much of the day today here in Madison anyway. Some areas stayed completely dry, but we saw more than an inch of rain here. Now any lingering showers and thunderstorms will come to an end this evening, and temperatures have been warming into the 70s across southern Wisconsin. Right now in Madison, we're at 74 degrees. It's 82 down toward Janesville, 77 in Platteville, 72 degrees in Wisconsin Dells. So a pretty good range of temperatures across the southern part of the state. There's some of those blue sunny skies over toward Platteville right now. You can see a few clouds as well, but overall a very beautiful view in that direction. We're seeing kind of a mixture of mostly clouds with a little bit of sunshine here in Madison, and it looks like our shower and thunderstorm chances will gradually come to an end this evening. We'll have some areas of fog develop overnight, and temperatures will be falling through the 70s this evening. We'll keep it humid tonight and into tomorrow as well, but then we do get that break in the humidity by about Friday. Here's our live view from our Department of Transportation camera at Park Street and the Beltline. Traffic flowing along very nicely in both directions, and overall things are looking pretty good at this hour. Still seeing a few slowdowns on the interstate. There was an earlier incident, and we're still seeing some slowdowns to around 20 to 30 miles per hour just to the north of Highway 51 going northbound on 39, but overall that area has actually seen quite a bit of improvement. On the Beltline, not seeing many slowdowns at all. In fact, there are a few slowdowns on Verona Road through some of those construction areas, both north and southbounds. We are getting into just a few minor slowdowns right around Fish Hatchery Road. And other than that, we are seeing some pretty good travel conditions, both east and westbound right now. So traveling around 55 to 60 miles per hour eastbound on the Beltline. If you're heading out of town, looking pretty good heading down to Janesville. There is that northbound slowdown, but southbound looking pretty good with a drive time of about 26 minutes. Heading out to Sun Prairie, we're seeing a time of about 15 minutes with an average speed of 36 miles per hour. Overall, looking pretty good.
And the weather is as well.
Yeah, it smells great out here.
Yeah. All right, thanks, Karen. That
welcome.
accident, in fact, leads our news today.
It does. First at 4, a multi-vehicle crash on the interstate south of Madison backed up traffic for miles this afternoon.
Our Madeline O'Neill has details on what happened. She's live with the interstate. Maddie.
Mark and Susan, after nearly 3 hours, lanes going north on Interstate 39 are open. That comes after a multi-vehicle crash. State Patrol tells me semi-trucks were involved as well. Now, because of this construction, emergency responders had some trouble getting through. They did take down temporary walls to help them get through to this crash. Now, as you can see, lanes are open up again here. Mark and Susan.
All right, that is the good news. Madeline O'Neill live on the interstate. Thank you.
Thank you, Maddie. Wisconsin Supreme Court Justice Shirley Abrahamson, the first woman on the Wisconsin Supreme Court, will not seek another term next year. She released a statement saying she decided not to seek re-election for a number of reasons. She will serve on the court until next July. Abrahamson is 84 years old and has participated in cases by phone in recent weeks for undisclosed medical reasons. A business owner near Columbus is feeling frustrated this week after construction is blocking the main way that customers get to his auto repair shop.
He says the state's Department of Transportation did not tell people who live or work in the area that the exit ramp off of the highway would be closed ahead of time. Rose Schmidt is in the news center to tell us his concerns and the department's response. Rose?
Mark and Susan, the Department of Transportation says that construction project is replacing and repairing the pavement on Highway 151, and the ramps to get on and off the highway will be closed until August. JRC Automotive is just off Highway 151 on County Road V. With the ramps closed, people trying to get to the auto repair shop have to take the next exit several miles away and come back around. The DOT says it's aware of the business owner's concerns, and signs are up showing detour routes to get around that construction. But the owner says it easily adds 15 or 20 minutes to his customer's drive.
Customers, I always inform them of what to be expected and the easiest way to get here right now. But again, it's difficult to plan because I still don't have a Gantt chart as to how this construction is going to happen, expected dates.
Christian says he could potentially lose 50% of his business as he gets a number of customers from cars breaking down on Highway 151. He asked the department to put up a sign on the highway letting customers know that his shop is still open, but the DOT told him that was not allowed. DOT told us here at News 3 that business owners have to work with the county highway department to put up signs.
All right, Rose Schmidt live in the news center. Thank you.
President Trump signed the Right to Try Act into law this afternoon. The bill was sponsored by Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson. The act expands access to experimental drugs for patients with deadly diseases. Angelica Alvarez reports from the White House.
Surrounded by terminally ill patients, President Trump signed the Right to Try Act into law Wednesday.
A lot of that trying is going to be successful. I really believe that.
The law gives patients who have exhausted other options access to potentially life-saving experimental drugs not approved by the FDA.
This gives those patients the freedom to decide themselves. This gives those patients, their families, a little bit of hope.
Retired naval aviator Matt Bellina pushed for the legislation. Diagnosed with ALS in 2014, he didn't qualify for clinical trials in the U.S.
I'm immediately going to try the treatment that isn't, well, I'm going to ask the company and, hopefully they'll, go forward with it. But, I have a shot.
What does it mean for your children?
They might have their dad.
Advocates say the new law could save thousands of lives, but critics say the measure could provide false hope for terminally ill patients. Gail Javits is an attorney specializing in FDA law.
A drug that has passed only phase 1 is a drug we know very little about. And there is a very small likelihood that it will work. And in fact, it may do more harm than good.
In a statement, the FDA says it's ready to implement the legislation in a way that protects patients. Angelica Alvarez, CBS News, Washington.
The FDA already had an expanded access program in place, and the agency says it approves 99% of the requests it gets annually for those types of treatments.
A man charged in connection with multiple campus area attacks last fall is in court for a plea hearing. This is a live look inside the Dane County courtroom where 30-year-old Coleman Chung is expected to enter his plea on 5 felony charges, 4 of them for second-degree sexual assault of an unconscious victim. In one of the incidents, Chung allegedly struck his victim with a hatchet and attempted to put her in the trunk of his vehicle. He faces up to 40 years in prison on each of those charges if convicted. We'll have more on this plea hearing coming up on News 3 at 5. The future of a summit between President Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un could be decided in the next 24 hours. Kim Yong-chol is the right-hand man to North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. He's arrived in the U.S. for talks with Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. Kim and Pompeo will have dinner this evening and discuss if it's possible to proceed with the June 12th summit.
The conversation is going to be focused on denuclearization of the peninsula. As long as that is part of the discussion, we're going to continue to shoot for the June 12th and expect to do that.
Kim and Secretary Pompeo have been face-to-face twice before during Pompeo's trip to Pyongyang, but this will be the first time the two have talked in America. In fact, apart from trips to the UN, Kim's will be the first time a North Korean official has visited the U.S. in 18 years.
An exiled Russian journalist sent shockwaves around the world when he showed up at a news conference 24 hours after he was reported dead. CBS's Tina Kraus reports from London on this real-life Back from the Dead drama.
It's the stuff of soap operas. The press gasped and applauded when a supposedly murdered Russian journalist appeared in the flesh during a news conference about his own death. 41-year-old Arkady Babchenko apologized to his family and to those who thought he was dead. The dissident journalist said the real story is he'd been part of a police action to foil an actual attempt on his life. Babchenko, a vocal critic of the Kremlin, said Ukrainian security services coordinated the special operation. The fake story played out with Babchenko's wife discovering her husband bleeding from gunshot wounds outside their apartment building in Kiev. Babchenko supposedly died in the ambulance on the way to the hospital. Ukrainian authorities say they've detained one of their citizens who was allegedly paid $40,000 by the Russians to get rid of Babchenko. Babchenko's colleagues in Kiev cheered and danced around their office when they learned he was alive. But the group Journalists Without Borders released a statement saying, while the reappearance of the reporter may be a great relief, it is deeply regrettable that Ukraine's authorities have played with the truth, no matter their motive. Russia's foreign ministry said it was pleased Babchenko is alive and called his fake murder anti-Russian provocation. Tina Kraus, CBS News.
An interesting story.
It's an incredible story, yeah.
Well, there's more to come at 4. Things are going from bad to worse on the big island of Hawaii.
The flow of lava from the Kilauea volcano is increasing, and now the entire island is feeling its effects. We'll have the latest when we come back. Fast-moving lava from Hawaii's Kilauea volcano forced new emergency evacuations overnight.
The most active fissure is shooting molten rock hundreds of feet into the air. Lava has now destroyed 112 structures, including 71 homes, and could spell the end of the Puna geothermal plant on the Big Island. The lava has already overrun 2 of the 11 wells on the plant, and an Hawaiian state senator who took an aerial tour is not optimistic.
You know, looking at it from above, you get this sense that PGV is done, that Tutupele is wrapping her arms around PGV, and it's only a matter of days before PGV is going to be covered.
Explosions at the summit of Kilauea volcano and the fountain of lava at fissures are blowing volcanic gases, pollution, and ash all over the Big Island. Authorities are advising residents to minimize exposure to those elements to avoid physical irritation. The eruption has been going on for about a month right now, and scientists say there is no word on when it might end.
Stocks rebounded on Wall Street today as political tensions in Italy eased up. The Dow Industrials added 306 points, closing at 24,667. The Nasdaq Composite Index was up 65, and the S&P 500 gained 34. Dane County residents convicted of misdemeanors and certain felony offenses will get a chance to clean up their records this weekend with the help of lawyers from Foley and Lardner.
The Urban League of Greater Madison is hosting a free expungement clinic this Saturday, and Nina Trammell is an administrative law judge for Wisconsin and the former vice chair of the Urban League, and Melissa L. Menduar. Thank you very much. Is an attorney at Foley and Lardner. Welcome to Live at 4.
Thank you.
So, Nina, what is the reason for this?
So the Urban League works with individuals to help them find housing and to help them find jobs. And many of the people that we serve oftentimes find barriers because of criminal records or arrest records that appear in the system. And so that becomes a barrier for them in terms of being employable and finding appropriate and affordable housing. And so what we want to do is help them remove those barriers by hopefully having those records expunged if they're eligible for expungement.
So Melissa, what does expungement mean and who is eligible for it?
So expungement in the terms of a conviction means that essentially, as long as you fulfill all the requirements and you qualify for an expungement, it can be notified on your record as an expungement. So on your arrest record, it would be denoted as an expungement, but on your conviction record, it would actually be removed, including from CCAP.
What kind of crimes are we talking about?
So lower level felonies that are nonviolent and misdemeanors are the ones that typically qualify. Now the caveat is to qualify for an expungement, the type that we're working on this weekend is a young adult expungement, and so you need to have been an adult at the time of the crime, but you also need to be under the age of 25. So it's a specific category of people that may potentially qualify for that.
Yeah, is this also an attempt to address racial disparities in our community as well?
So, well,
because
what I
in
will
Dane
tell
County,
you,
the statistics are upsetting.
They are, and I do think that a disproportionate number of us are impacted by this, but what I will tell you is that our clinic is open to everyone and anyone who wants to be assisted in this manner. So while we are trying to address racial disparity issues, I want to make it very clear that anyone can come to this clinic.
Yeah. And this could really change someone's life.
Absolutely.
I mean, taking down barriers and an employer going, oh, I'm sorry, you have a criminal record.
Yeah. And so we do have, individuals that we work with where real life situations have happened and they've not been employed or they've been denied housing because of their arrest record or because of their conviction record. And while it may not always be lawful, it does happen. And so this is a step in the right direction to help them get over that.
And it's also a second chance for people, right?
Right.
I mean, can you just show up at the clinic, or do you want people to pre-register for it?
So people can show up at the clinic, although we encourage pre-registration. You can just show up. One more thing I just wanted to point out, though. So there's the conviction expungement, but then there's also the arrest record correction. And those are two different things. So a lot of people may not qualify for a conviction expungement, but they may very well qualify for an arrest record correction. So essentially, your arrest record occurs every time you are fingerprinted for something, a new cycle starts. And those
a lot of times a person's arrest record, they don't even know what's on there. And it might be pages and pages long and they don't have a clue. And a lot of those may be able to go away by fixing them on Saturday.
So if you're trying to get a job or apply for housing or join the military or anything like that, this helps overcome those obstacles.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, having an arrest record that's 2 pages long versus an arrest record that's 30 pages long, I mean, an employer may not even look at the details of that. They may simply say, this is heavier, this is lighter. I choose the lighter one, you know.
What a great opportunity. It's all free.
Really is.
Melissa, Nia, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for both of you for coming in. Great to see you both.
Thank you.
And the free expungement clinic is this Saturday, June 2nd from 9 to 4:30 at the Urban League of Greater Madison on South Park Street. Pre-registration is preferred but not required. You can register at ulgm.org.
There's more at 4 when we come back. It used to be all you really needed for an entry-level job was good people skills.
Well, things have changed. Coming up after Karen's forecast, we'll find out what it takes to land an entry-level job in today's economy. Stay with us. Take a look at this t-shirt. It can be pre-ordered right now on luxury fashion house Balenciaga's online store. It's 2 shirts for the price of 1. You can opt to wear the short sleeve shirt so the other shirt drapes in front of you. Or you can don the long sleeve shirt and wear the t-shirt kind of like a cape. The price, $1,300.
Wow.
But that does include free shipping.
And people will spend that.
You know what? If you want one, I'll make you one for $500.
Yeah, there you go.
I've got a sewing machine.
So a t-shirt onto a shirt, right?
It looks like a home ec project gone wrong.
Yes, it does.
$1,300.
Or what do they call it now? They probably don't call it home ec anymore, do they? consumer living.
I don't even know if they do that anymore.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's more in our day.
It is Wednesday, May 30th. It's Hug Your Cat Day, Susan.
Oh, I did that this morning.
It's also National Hole in My Bucket Day, which honors the children's song of the same name. The song has origins in Germany in 1700. I had to look up what the song was. I didn't know it off the top of my head.
I didn't either.
It's like hole in my bucket. If I sing it, you won't even know what I'm singing, but it's Dear Liza, Dear Liza.
Yeah, it's two people,
Can you
right?
tell what I'm singing? I have the worst singing voice. This is why I'm not a singer for a living.
Yes, it's National Water a Flower Day.
It sure is. It's your turn.
Yeah, Alberto took care of that. What? Alberto?
The remnants of Alberto.
Got it.
No, Alberto. He comes in and waters the flag.
Got it. Got it.
Alberto Nino. It was a little one. It was not really the Alberto. He went.
It tracked through the remnants, yeah, whatever you want to call it. It had a lot of names. It was subtropical storm. It was subtropical depression. It was tropical depression. It has had a lot of names along its journey.
Brought some tropical weather our way.
Yeah, we had more than an inch of rain here in Madison today, and we'll run down where that puts us as far as May numbers so far. That's coming up next. As we were just mentioning, the remnants of Alberto have been tracking through the midsection of the country today, bringing us some of those scattered showers and thunderstorms here across the state of Wisconsin. Not everyone has gotten wet, but some areas have seen more than an inch of rain. And here's where the most recent thunderstorms are located right now, kind of a line into southeast Wisconsin. That heavier cluster that moved through the Madison area is pushing to the north. And we do have a couple of additional showers and thunderstorms entering southwest Wisconsin. We'll see these into the evening hours, and then those should be falling apart with perhaps even some fog developing into the overnight. But you can tell who has seen the rain and who has not seen the rain. This is a radar estimate staying dry over into the far southeast part of the state, also kind of a strip into parts of Grant as well as Crawford and Vernon counties that have stayed dry. But here across the south central part of the state, we've seen anywhere from about a ½ inch to an1.5 inches of rain accumulate, and that puts our number officially so far anyway here in Madison up to 1.09 inches for today. So topping that 1 inch mark. We've had a couple of other days this month with more than an inch of rain, and look at that total for the entire month of May, almost 10 inches of rain now. The average for the entire month is about 3.5 inches. We like to average about an inch of rain per week, and we've had a lot more rainy days this month than dry days. But thank goodness for kind of that reprieve we had over the last week with that drying out stretch before this next batch of rain arrived. And we're now in second place for our wettest Mays on record. The wettest ever, that was back in 2004 with almost 11 inches of rain. And here we are now in second place. We've passed up 2000, which had 9.63 inches. And our temperature trend over the last 24 hours shows those warm and if not hot temperatures yesterday settling into some very mild temperatures overnight. Not quite a rebound or as much of a rebound today, but still some very humid conditions out there. And tomorrow we're going to be warmer again, back into the middle 80s. We drop off a bit after that, but still some temperatures staying a bit above normal for this time of the year. Our temperatures today 76 and 68. Normals for today are 73 and 51. Right now in Madison at 76, the air is calm and the air pressure is falling rapidly. We do have temperatures anywhere from the low 70s to the low 80s at this hour. Our 24-hour temperature change map shows temperatures anywhere from 10 to about 25 degrees cooler than they were yesterday at this time, but we're still dealing with some very high humidity levels. Those dew points are making it feel very tropical outside, feeling like those dew points into the upper 60s and low 70s. Across the rest of the region, we do have some warm temperatures on the map just about everywhere you go, even a few 90s showing up off to our southwest. Here are those two systems. Here's Alberto down to our southeast, another system making its way through from the west, those kind of merging, bringing us those showers and thunderstorms today and this evening as well. Tomorrow on the tail end of this, we may have a few showers or thunderstorms pop up in the afternoon and evening, but I think a lot of areas will be staying dry during that time. Your forecast tonight still includes that chance of a few showers or thunderstorms this evening. Then the fog develops overnight. The low drops to 65. Tomorrow, there may be a thunderstorm that pops up in the afternoon. Otherwise, a very warm and humid day with a high of 86. But heat index values will be into the upper 80s to near 90 degrees at times tomorrow afternoon. Here are those numerous showers and thunderstorms falling apart this evening. Some fog develops overnight and temperatures stay very mild. Tomorrow, you can see just those few spotty thunderstorms popping up. So not nearly as wet tomorrow as what we experienced today. And then beyond that, you can expect a dry day Friday, although I do think we'll still see plenty of clouds that morning, eventually giving way to more sunshine that afternoon, feeling less humid on Friday, so a lot more comfortable. We do have a thunderstorm chance over the weekend, mainly from later Saturday into early Sunday. Nice weather starts off next week and then perhaps turning a bit more unsettled toward the middle and the end of next week. But
so we're probably not going to break the record. Number 2, again.
We're number two in April. Yes, for coldest Aprils on record. Yeah.
We're number 2.
I know. Well,
that's a record we don't want to break.
I know. Yeah, we don't really want to break that, but we're close.
Yeah,
we're close.
Get a storm tomorrow. Who knows?
Yeah.
One more game.
Thanks, Karen.
You're welcome.
Well, getting a job as a store cashier or a sales assistant is often an easy way into the economy for an unskilled worker. It used to be easy.
Now that path is getting much more complicated as employers demand higher level skills.
Right. It took a while for Nadine Vixima to land this job at a Whole Foods in Cambridge, Massachusetts. She had to take English classes and attend a retail training program.
The interaction with people makes me feel happy.
As Vixima learned, good people skills are no longer enough to get an entry-level job at a store or restaurant. With changes in technology and store chains closing, the path for unskilled workers has become more complicated.
The jobs are not going away, but they are changing.
According to an analysis done for the Associated Press by Burning Glass Technologies, which scours 25 million job postings across various fields, employers are demanding more skills across all entry-level retail jobs, including specific software or inventory management, a skills gap that's preventing people from getting a foothold in the economy.
We've seen people go through this program in many cases who are 30 years old or well above, who are for some reason or another looking for another opportunity and not being able to find it.
To increase the qualified workforce, the National Retail Federation's nonprofit arm has launched a training and credential program for entry-level workers, partnering with local nonprofits nationwide, like this one in Baltimore called Living Classrooms. This 2-week hospitality class focused on hands-on learning.
So I want somebody to do it the wrong way.
It's just really made me feel a lot more confident to go back to work.
Overall, retail has been shrinking as a share of total jobs in the U.S., peaking at more than 12% in the late 1980s to just above 10% now.
I'll try.
Vixima knows she'll need more training to keep moving up.
I'm not a leader yet, so I think I'm working on being a good team leader.
She already passed one big hurdle, getting her foot in the door.
Yeah, it's amazing what it takes now just to get in the door.
Yes, it does.
Well, if you're under 50, this is news you'll want to pay attention to.
The American Cancer Society has some new recommendations.
New guidelines lower the age for colorectal cancer screening. I'm Meg Oliver in New York City with who's now affected.
Pretty perspective from the Edgewater Cam downtown, some clouds. A little blue sky.
Lake flies?
Boy, how about the mosquitoes right now?
Oh my gosh.
It is just
I had to do labs today for some, I didn't have any blood in me. The mosquitoes took it all.
I know, it's from the humidity and the rain and all of that. Well, new guidelines out today from the American Cancer Society recommend that adults begin getting screened for colorectal cancer at 45 years old rather than at age 50.
Yeah, the recommendation is for anyone at average risk, and it's in response to an increase in colorectal cancer rates in younger and middle-aged adults. Meg Oliver has more in today's Health Watch.
At 47 years old, Sandy Kirkostas was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer that had spread to his liver.
When they tell you and your wife, when you have 2 young children, get your life in order, it's a scary point.
2 different doctors gave him months to live.
I wasn't supposed to have colon cancer. Nobody in my family had colon cancer.
With no family history and symptoms that started only weeks before his diagnosis, cases like his are on the rise. The American Cancer Society says colorectal cancer among people under 50 has shot up 51% since 1994, while at the same time rates steadily declined in people over 55 because of screenings. In response, the organization has issued new guidelines recommending people start screening at 45 instead of 50.
If we can identify patients with early onset colon cancer earlier, we could have a better chance of curing them.
Dr. Manish Shah at New York Presbyterian Weill Cornell Medical Center was the 3rd doctor for Sandy and the first to offer hope. He credits you for saving his life.
That's high praise.
It took 12 rounds of chemotherapy and 9 surgeries, but 4 years later,
Over time, we were able to render him disease-free, which is really remarkable.
Sandy says if he had been screened at 45, he may have had cancer, but not as advanced.
You need to check for colon cancer because it's an easy diagnosis. It's an easy fix if you catch it early enough.
Colon cancer is typically considered a preventable cancer if caught in time. Meg Oliver, CBS News, New York.
And the new guidelines also call for, in some cases, to continue screening through age 85 rather than stopping at the age of 75.
Very important.
Catch it early. That is the key.
There's more at 4. When we come back, a Wanakee woman's creation may soon end up on menus in Perkins restaurants.
She's one of the finalists in a nationwide recipe contest. We'll find out what she created when Live at 4 continues.
Your first alert traffic view of our Department of Transportation camera at the Beltline and Park Street is showing some slowdowns in that westbound direction. It looks like all the lanes are seeing that slowing. Back in that eastbound direction, doing a little bit better right in that particular spot, but we are starting to see some of those slowdowns both east and west right now. Some of those slowdowns start up right around Verona Road in that eastbound direction, seeing some slowing to around 15 to 30 miles per hour at times in that eastbound direction. Back in that westbound direction, seeing some slowing to around 30 miles per hour right around that Park Street and Todd Drive exit area. So here are some of those eastbound speeds and times. Verona Road to John Nolan Drive, you're traveling about 30 miles per hour right now. And back in that westbound direction, looking a little bit slower overall. John Nolan Drive to Verona Road has an average speed of about 26 miles per hour. That's your first alert traffic.
All right, Karen, thank you. A couple's marriage proposal in Memphis is going viral, and you'll see why in just a moment. Becky McCabe brought a ring to the Memphis Zoo to propose to her girlfriend, Jessa Gillespie. But when the moment arrived, Gillespie broke out in hysterical laughter. Turns out she, too, had brought a ring with the exact same plan to propose. They both said yes and are now enjoying viral stardom. Congratulations. Great minds think alike, right?
Yes.
Well, Perkins Restaurant is celebrating its 60th diamond anniversary this year by holding a national recipe contest.
Out of 800 entries, there are 10 finalists remaining, and Vanessa Stykes is of Wanakee. Is that right? That's right. Stykes is one of them, and she's here with the recipe that she submitted for breakfast pizza. Hi, Vanessa. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So tell us a little about the recipe you submitted.
Okay, so this is a breakfast pizza. I wanted something that you could eat all day, but still breakfast. It's buttermilk biscuits with sausage gravy. It also has scrambled eggs and then cheddar and mozzarella cheese. And it can come in 3 varieties. There's sausage, bacon, and a veggie mix.
So this is just something you came up with? Mm-hmm. And they had a contest online. So you sent the recipe. You didn't have to make it for them?
No.
So you're assuming that they made it?
I hope so.
800 entries nationwide.
I said over 800, yes.
And that's pretty good. You're one of the 10 finalists.
Yeah, I was excited.
What is you have a family?
Yes.
Do they like this?
My husband likes it. My son doesn't like pizza. So.
What?
I know.
What's not to like?
I don't know.
And when you first sat down, what Mark said is so true. This looks like Perkins. I mean, this looks like something that you would find on the Perkins menu.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, that very good thing, because the winner of this contest, the recipe will end up in the menu, right?
That's correct.
Now, were there different categories, or was it all breakfast recipes? Was it?
It was any recipe that you wanted to submit. But I'd been planning on making this just to eat at home anyways, and then I saw the recipe contest posted, and I thought, I think, yeah, that would be a good fit for Perkins, so I decided to submit it.
And what did you think when you became one of the 10 finalists?
I was really surprised.
Were you?
Yeah.
Did you enter a contest before?
Mm-hmm. I like cooking and recipes, so.
Now, if you win, you'll win $1,000, and the recipe will be in the Perkins menu.
Yep.
So that's pretty cool. Yeah.
I'm really excited about that.
Maybe that'll get your son to eat pizza.
I hope so.
Do you like cooking?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Can we try one?
Please do, yeah, whichever one you want.
Which one would you like?
Whichever one you can grab. They all look delicious. Yeah, that looks great. So you made the biscuits, or are they store-bought biscuits?
The biscuits are just regular store-bought. This is just, I wanted to make something that, anyone can make easily at home.
Well, get through here.
How long did it take you to make this?
It only takes about 45 minutes to make the whole recipe.
And so this is something you can have for breakfast or dinner, or you could eat all day long, which is another thing they love at Perkins.
Mm-hmm.
Very good.
Thank you.
Would you like some?
You can't talk and eat. It's a challenge.
So when do you find out?
June 10th is the deadline to enter, because now we're voting. And then they tell you if you won on June 11th.
So get out there and vote, right?
That's right, yes. I have a little sign here.
Go to the Perkins Restaurant Facebook page through June 10th.
That's correct. Or their website.
And the winner will be announced on June 11th. Fingers crossed.
Thank you.
Good luck, Vanessa. Thank you for coming. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, too.
Right back with a final check of your forecast. little steamy out there.
Steamy outside, yeah. I might not be dressed appropriately for heading outside right now, but we've got some of those showers and thunderstorms out there. We do have a few flashes of lightning showing up, generally in southwest Wisconsin into the southeast. Most of the storms that were right here across south central Wisconsin have made their way to the north, but still a chance of seeing some of those as we make our way through this evening. There's our live view in Madison. Still seeing some breaks in the clouds out there, but there are quite a few clouds in place as well, and our rain showers will gradually come to an end this evening. Do expect some areas of fog to develop overnight, so as you're heading off to work or school tomorrow morning, that may be something you have to contend with. Temperatures this evening will be in the 70s. Then we're down to the 60s by early tomorrow, so another kind of sticky start to the day tomorrow, and we're going to heat things up pretty quickly tomorrow. Some partly sunny skies, humid as well as very warm with those highs well into the 80s. There is a slight chance of a shower or a thunderstorm tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow evening. Nothing like what we saw today, just a couple of pop-ups here and there. So I think a lot of areas will be staying dry, but not out of the question that you could get a brief little downpour as we head through tomorrow afternoon, and then it's after that that we should turn more comfortable by Friday. So some relief in sight. We've had the sticky weather around for quite some time now, but some relief is in sight.
June starts on Friday?
Hard to believe, right?
The year's almost half over.
I know.
Oh, goodness.
Time's flying.
All right. Thank you, Karen.
You're welcome.
Tomorrow here on Live at 4, we'll find out what's happening this weekend in the 608.
And a UW sports performance expert will be here. We'll talk about how to avoid burnout and injuries in youth sports. It's a very busy time of the year. We'll have that conversation tomorrow on Live at 4. In today's Final Touch, a trip to the Field Museum in Chicago may be in order.